Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing the big sign no contact is working. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing the big sign no contact is working. So if you've been dumped and want to try to get your ex back, you are likely implementing the no contact rule. In today's podcast, I'll be discussing the big sign that no contact is working, as well as two other good signs to watch out for. So let's get straight into this, and point number one is inquiries about you. So first of all, we're going to be starting off with a very good sign that you need to be watching out for, that the no contact rule is working. Now, I just wanted to get across early on in today's podcast, I am referencing my version of the no contact rule. And if you're not familiar with that, please check out the playlist I have on my YouTube channel entitled The No Contact Rule, and there you can fully immerse yourself in my version of a rule and understand why I believe it will give you that best possible chance of success due to the fact the differences you will find with my version of a rule and other varieties you can find online. Because the unfortunate and somewhat frustrating thing about quote-unquote the no contact rule is that there is no definitive rule. The variants, the versions that you find online do differ. So I just wanted to get across, but when I'm speaking about no contact today, I'm speaking about my version of no contact and not other versions you might come across online in books or whatever it may be, because I don't know exactly what other people are suggesting and saying. I only, of course, know what I promote. So with that out of the way, we're talking about point number one, a very good sign that my version of a no contact rule is working, and that is inquiries about you. And what we're speaking about here is your expert dumper asking other people about you. Now, if this is very shortly after the breakup, there could be a fair argument made that this isn't going to be reflective of no contact having an effect on your ex in regards to trying to get them back. So if, for instance, you were dumped on Monday and you don't contact your ex, and then on Thursday you find out from a mutual friend that your ex has asked them about you, I wouldn't suggest that in this respect that my version of a no contact rule, or any version for that matter, would have worked during that period of time. And the reason I'm saying this is, unfortunately, no contact is a long game. No contact is going to be something which helps you in the medium to longer term, rather than the shorter term in connection to trying to reattract your ex. So if you were dumped on Monday, if you don't contact your ex, and you hear that they're asking about you by the Thursday, that is more along the lines of them just being concerned and wanting to know how you've taken the breakup. This is, you could argue, a good sign that they are at least having feelings towards you and making sure that you're okay, but it is not a sign, not really a suggestion of romantic emotional attraction being regrown to the necessary high point for them wanting to reconnect with you, because it has not been long enough. However, if we're talking about a situation where you were dumped on the 1st of April, let's just say for instance, and then you find out from a mutual friend that your ex has been asking about you, and by this point we're in July, well, by this point we can see that there's been a number of months already ticked by, and therefore increasing the chance that this is due to romantic emotional attraction starting to regrow in your ex's mind. Now, I would say, and I've said in other podcasts, that the average amount of time that I see that dumpers often reach out to their dumpee being around the 6-month mark. So it could even be beyond what I've just said there. You know, you were dumped on the 1st of April. You might not have any inclination where your ex is starting to regrow attraction and interest for many, many months more than I even just suggested then. So this isn't about you setting your watch, your timer, and saying, look, you know, I need to hear from my ex. I need somebody to tell me that my ex is asking about me by this point, else this means I can't get them back. You know, it's not like that. This is a fluid situation. There is no way of guaranteeing that your ex will ever want to reconnect with you, unfortunately. But also, if they do, there's no way of guaranteeing precisely when that will be. But by and large, if your ex is asking about you, if they're inquiring about you within a few days post-breakup, that's probably not a sign of them wanting to reconnect. However, if it is months into the future, this is much more of a positive sign that no contact is working in regard to trying to reattract your ex and hopefully get them to a point where they want to reach out to you due to the fact romantic emotional attraction has regrown to the necessary high point and they can't stand it any longer. They are wondering about you, they're missing you, they're asking about you, and hopefully that is only a few steps away from them actually reaching out to you and you moving from the no contact phase to the communication stage. And if you're in the communication stage, you're very, very close to hopefully getting to a point of where you can meet your ex and then reconnect. But one step at a time. Rome wasn't built in a day. And if you hear an inquiry from your ex due to them asking a mutual friend or whoever it may be, then that is definitely a good sign to watch out for. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast. Please like this video if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. And point number 2 is ex contacts you. So again, we're talking about a good sign to watch out for. This isn't actually the big sign that no contact is working. So please keep listening through today's podcast because we will be getting to that very, very shortly. But this is a good sign, a great sign, you could say, to watch out for. And if you want to try to get your ex back, you might be thinking, well, surely this is the biggest sign. Well, actually, no, there is one, in my opinion, that's bigger than this. However, your ex contacting you is a very good sign to watch out for. And as I've just said from point number 1, if they are asking about you, if they're inquiring about you, that's a good sign. That's a step further forward. But an even bigger step forward is your ex contacting you. Your ex contacting you shows that they've regrown enough romantic emotional attraction to want to try and take things to the next level. They're not content in asking about you to other people. They're not content about reading on social media about you. They're not finding that to be enough anymore. They want to communicate. They miss you. Now, are they likely to say, "Hi, I miss you. How have you been?" No. Unfortunately, this is not likely to be the Disney-esque imagination that you might have in your mind about how this will play out. Very few people will receive that magical message from their dumper which says, "I miss you. Let's get back together." That is just not realistic. Much more realistic is that they will contact you using an indirect direct approach, which is a direct message to you. However, it's indirect because it's not actually telling you the truth and the reality of why they're reaching out. More often than not, they will contact you for something somewhat silly sounding, somewhat ridiculous, you might think. Ultimately, if it is something which is unnecessary, then you as a dumpee can have a little celebrationary win in your mind and think, yes, this was unnecessary, they've reached out to me, this means they're missing me. Because nobody makes contact with someone unless they're thinking about them. Nobody makes contact for an unnecessary reason unless they miss that person, unless they want to communicate. Think about it in a logical sense. Would you contact somebody for an unnecessary reason unless you felt a connection of some kind? You're not going to reach out to anybody for no reason, no particular reason, unless you actually miss their communication, unless you desire communication. Now, I can't say at this stage whether this is definitely going to be from a romantic perspective. We have to consider all possibilities, and unfortunately, that also includes platonic friendship. It is possible that your ex-dumper might reach out to you because they miss you, but they miss you in a platonic sense. That's possible. And it's only through the communication stage and sometimes even getting to the meeting stage that this might actually be uncovered. Now, I don't want to scare you, dumpees, because this isn't always the case. In fact, I would say it's in the minority of instances that a dumper will make contact due to that aim. You know, if a dumper has ended a relationship and they reach out to you for an unnecessary reason, I would say, by and large, generally speaking, most of the time, it's due to romantic emotional attraction getting to the necessary high point where there is a romantic feeling. Now, sometimes that level of attraction can grow from the point of breaking up a few notches up, but it's not actually to a romantic level, it's more to a platonic level, and they miss you as a friend. That's possible. I wouldn't say it's the most common. I would actually say it's more minimal chance, but that is the case. But we have to consider it. And unfortunately, at this moment, you won't know for certain. You will only uncover this through communication, and sometimes even it gets to the point of meeting before it is uncovered. But don't be scared, don't be frightened, because at the end of the day, if you want your ex back, receiving contact from them is golden. You can't get them back unless they reach out to you in this way. So don't be frightened thinking, well, it might not even be romantic. Instead, be happy. It had to happen this way, and therefore it's a good sign. It's not the biggest sign that no contact is working. I'll be getting to that very, very shortly, but it is a good sign. And if you feel that your ex is coming across in a more platonic way, well, you can navigate that effectively. In my opinion, you shouldn't be accepting platonic friendship with somebody you have romantic feelings for, because it's never going to end in a good way for you. You will have your heart broken again and again and again, because if you accept platonic friendship with somebody you have romantic feelings for, that means you've got to accept situations where they're dating new people. They want you in their friendship area, in their friendship zone. They want you in and around their orbit, but they would still want to date other people. You don't want that. So if you get any feeling that's happening, you need to let them know in a polite way, look, I will always see you as more than a friend, so I can't have an active platonic friendship with you. You have to navigate this situation if it comes around, but hopefully for you, you won't be in that minority of instances, and instead it will be a really good sign that they are missing you in a romantic way. Now, if you would like advice and support about how to try and increase the chance of one day getting your ex back, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where me and you can speak one-on-one about your unique specific situation. Go to my website, www.dateme.tips, for more information about how I can become your coach and your teammate via my audio coaching service. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about the big sign that no contact is working. And point number 3 is the biggest sign. So here it is, the biggest sign that I believe that my version of a no contact rule is working from when you've implemented it post-breakup. And this is, you feel secure in yourself. Now, this might not sound the most exciting point in today's podcast. You might be thinking, well, what on earth's this about? I want my ex back. How on earth can feeling more secure in myself being the biggest sign that no contact is working? Well, please hear me out, because in my opinion, no contact is about you as a dumpee. It's not about your ex-dumper. That is a byproduct. The byproduct of my version of a no contact rule is that it increases the chance of you one day getting your ex back by creating space and allowing wonder and an eventual missing you from your ex-dumper to consider and feel towards you, the dumpee. Much more important, in my opinion, is that you feel secure in yourself. And this means that with or without your ex, you will feel okay. You don't need me to tell you that post-breakup, you feel every negative emotion known to mankind. Every negative emotion known to the human race you are experiencing. You are going through feelings which are very similar to a combination of grief and drug withdrawal. It is agony. You probably can't sleep. You probably have an excess of adrenaline. You probably are moving out of a healthy eating pattern. Maybe you're eating too much. Maybe you're eating too little. You can't concentrate. You feel agonizing pain across your body, mindset, internally and externally. You're going through a terrible, terrible time. You're going through the grind. So if I was to say to you, hey, these feelings will go away and you will feel better again one day. You will feel better internally, externally. You will feel more secure in yourself, and you don't even need your ex to make you feel wonderful again. You can feel good with or without them. If I could tell you that could happen, then I'm sure you'd probably say, yes, let's make it happen now. Click my fingers. I want it now. I want this feeling. So when I describe it in that way, perhaps you can see how that feeling secure in yourself is actually the biggest sign that no contact is working. And the byproduct of that is that you may get your ex back, which could be wonderful for you. But unless you're feeling good in yourself with whatever option and whatever outcome happens, then ultimately What does it mean? If you get your ex back, but you still feel terrible, if you get your ex back, but you know that if they leave you again, you're going to crumble, then that is not a position that you want to be in. You need to feel safe and secure, happy, confident, able to live a healthy life in every single possible outcome. You need to feel that way. And if you can get to that stage, you truly know that no contact is working. And the reason why no contact, my version in particular, can help you in this way is that by going no contact, you concentrate on yourself. You go through breakup recovery. You allow yourself to grieve. You move forward every single day. You improve yourself to become a version 2.0 of yourself. You grow your social circle. You make your skill set more valuable to you and to other people that it can connect with. And you just become that person that you probably didn't even think even existed within you. This is why my version of a no contact rule gives you the time, the space, and the ability to create this monumental shift in who you were to who you can be. And this is why I would say that the big sign no contact is working is that you feel secure in yourself. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.